Liberation from addiction is not passive. We must take action. The first step is about acknowledging our power. The second step is recognizing that there is true power in community and connection. The third step is about taking action, engaging in a healing community and in individual therapy. This is the moment when understanding and agreement is no longer enough. We know what needs to change. We've begun to understand why we struggle. At least we're open to look deeper. We're willing to recognize the patterns that have been keeping us stuck. We can even say, I'm done with this addiction. I'm ready to do the work. Now, what are we going to do about it? That's the heart of step 3 in my book. We take possession of and use our power to commit to this path toward liberation, dedicating our lives, time, and resources to our liberation. With this step, we take possession of our power, not borrow it, not wait for someone else to give it to us, not wait for permission, and not hope that someday we'll be ready. We take possession of it because addiction can gradually convince us that we have no choices, that we're powerless, that our lives are controlled by cravings, circumstances, other people, our past, or our mistakes, that we need to sit in our misery alone, wallowing in self-defeat and helplessness. If we believe that long enough, we stop acting like creators of our lives and start acting like observers of them. Step 3 challenges that belief. It says you have power and now it's time to use it. But here's the difficult part. Awareness without action is useless. Power without action doesn't create change. We can say we're committed to healing. We can say we want to create a thriving, joyful, and connected life. We can say we want healthier relationships, greater self-understanding, and freedom from addiction. But if our life continues to move in the same direction and we do nothing but talk about it, read about it, watch videos about it, and keep thinking about it, our words haven't yet become a commitment. As the introduction to this chapter in my book says, without action, our words are meaningless. That's not meant to shame us. It's meant to wake us up. Because commitment isn't something we simply feel. Motivation doesn't suddenly arrive. Commitment is something we practice. Motivation starts with movement. We don't need to make bold, big moves to create a connected life. Our practice can look very ordinary. Find, reach out to, and attend a healing community, any community that works. Contact a therapist or a few. Schedule some consultations. Make an appointment. Go to therapy. Set aside some time for self-reflection. Become more curious about yourself instead of automatically judging, criticizing, or condemning yourself. Consider what it might look like to explore the parts of your life you've avoided. Practice compassion when you run into a roadblock instead of using your struggle as evidence that you're failing. These actions aren't dramatic, and no one will necessarily notice at first. But that's how meaningful and connected lives are created, not through one enormous decision, through hundreds of small decisions that begin pointing in a new direction. Think about a trail through a forest. We don't create the entire path before taking the first step. We walk. And with each step, the path becomes clearer. That's what step 3 asks us to do. Change course, make a decision, move in that direction. Start creating the path toward a new life. We don't need to pretend the journey will be easy. The introduction says we move forward mindfully aware of and willing to accept our struggles as they are. That's important. Because courageous action isn't pretending that fear doesn't exist. It isn't waiting until you're confident. It isn't demanding perfection from ourselves. Courageous action is saying, this is hard. I'm scared. I'm terrified. I'm struggling. And still willing to take the next step. Fear won't go away. So we'll have to do this step scared. We can struggle and still be committed. We can be unsure and still move forward. We can make mistakes, stumble, fall, and experience pain and still return to the path. We're not going to become a completely different person before we begin creating a different life. We create that life through what we choose today. We don't lose focus on we don't focus on the finish line because there is no finish line. Liberation starts when we enter into and commit to the path to liberation. The work of liberation is liberation. So consider asking, what is one action I can make today that moves me toward the life I want to create? Do you need to send a text or an email, make a phone call, show up to a meeting, schedule the therapy appointment, open your journal and draw or write or whatever you want to do? Tell someone the truth about your addiction. Start taking care of your body. Set a boundary. Ask for help. Pay attention to the choices you're making, because every intentional action is a move toward the person you're becoming. Every new connection you make is a move toward creating a connected life. Over time, those choices become a joyful and meaningful life. Step 3 is courageous because it asks us to stop waiting for liberation to happen to us. It invites us to create it. We have power. Use it. We don't have to know exactly where the entire path leads. It continues throughout the rest of our beautiful lives. We only need enough courage to take the next step, because liberation begins when awareness becomes action. Hope triumphs when we move in the direction of purpose, and the life we create is shaped by what we choose to do today.